Oh, now. Thank you. Got one.
Wow, what an entrance, huh? Welcome to Creative Con. Yeah. Excited. Love you guys too. Thanks for the kind words, Pat. And I'm so excited to be welcoming everyone to Creative Con. And I just want to go over a couple things. Then I'm going to teach you a couple things. Then I'm going to teach you how I want you to behave and act at this event. Is that okay? Okay. I know it sounds silly, but you won't believe that some people don't know what to do in public anymore after COVID, right? So just to go over briefly what we're going to cover today, you should have all gotten these annoying text messages. Sorry, at 6:30 a.m. It got confusing. My apologies. So every day I'm going to give you an agenda via text message and email so you know what's going to happen today, right? If you're VIP or gold, obviously you know that. You're closer to the stage. Tonight we're going to go take you to a private mansion getaway for a party. And you don't have to drive. We've got a tour bus. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, we're going to take everyone to Dave & Buster's. And I've got $100 cash for anyone who can beat me in that little basketball game. I haven't been beaten in 12 years. And it's not like I don't go to the arcade. I've got 2 little kids. So I'm just throwing that out there, right? But today, we're going to talk about quite a few things. I'm going to teach you about the 4 stages of success this morning and find out where you are and how you can elevate quickly, right? Not take decades. Carl's going to teach you about why buying an existing business and the different ways to acquire them. Can we get those doors shut, please? Thank you. I've got a guy named Pace Morby here as well. And I didn't want to tell you, I didn't want to publish what he's going to talk about. I wanted it to be a surprise, okay? And we're going to go over quite a few things around that. Abraham Gray is going to come on stage and talk about sourcing off-market deals. I've got one of the best mindset coaches I've ever seen, period. I was able to convince her to come up on stage and talk about how to build your business health and your body wealth. Because I think if we have all the wealth in the world and we don't have our health, then we're poor, okay? We're also going to talk about quite a few other things. Another guy that we've randomly found in Scottsdale named Cody Barton. He's going to come up and teach everyone quite a few things as well. We have a couple really cool sponsors. I'll be introducing them later. I'm going to come back up later if you'll have me, and I'm going to teach you how to get equity in people's business with no money out of your pocket. And actually, they'll pay you starting out day 1. Is that okay? So we'll do that. And then we'll probably wrap it up with something called Stand Up and Connect. And I want you to think about this for a minute. Think about this now and be reflecting on it all day long. Each and every one of you came here with a primary purpose. I fully anticipate that may change after you experience what you're going to experience, but I want you to remember why you came here, and I want you to fight for it. So we're going to do something called Stand Up and Connect. Actually, I want Pace to help me with that, if that's okay. And essentially, we're going to make a little line, and I want everyone to have their moment in the spotlight of 45 seconds to a minute to stand up and say who you are, what you do, and why you came here. And then we did this at our last event in Atlanta, and people said it was the most impactful thing from the entire event. And people in the room have no idea who each other are. You're not sitting anywhere near each other, but they've made a lot of partnerships because someone said, hey, I'm doing this. This is what I'm looking for. And then 25 people stood up. They took their phone out. They videoed all of it so they know who to go talk to. And then during the networking breaks, you go directly to that person. And so many deals have blossomed from that exact thing. So we're going to do that twice at this event because I want you to get what you want out of this event. You have someone you're looking for. Maybe it's a private money lender. Maybe you're looking for someone to go out and help you find more deals quicker so you can expand your empire. Maybe you're looking for that one unicorn deal that you've been searching for 3 years, and someone in this room has that access, okay? So that's what we're going to do today. But before we get into anything, I'm known as the surges of income guy, so I'm going to teach you how to tap into surges of income. Is anybody interested in that? Lovely. Before we get to surges of income, I want to help people get some perspective. One of the things that I teach a lot is understanding how to look at the world in the right way. And how do you do that without having perspective, right? So I want to go over the 4 stages of success to begin with. And these are the 4 stages. We'll make sure everybody gets the slides. Feel free to take as many pictures as you want. But everyone in this room essentially is in one of these 4 stages. You got to be honest with yourself. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. There's people in this room who are in the survival stage where they could barely afford to get here. And that's okay. And I'm so glad you're here because you need to hear what we have to say. Then you have the second stage, it's called comfortable. This is a terrible stage. Then you have thriving. Then you have legacy driven. So let's dive in and let's define these a little bit real quick. So survival, you could look at it as living paycheck to paycheck. It's tough to climb out of this when you don't have the ability to predict your income, predict your success. Is that fair to say? Okay. With survival, you're at 40% of the people in the United States statistically are in this mode at the moment. And it's actually a wonderful mode to be in. Isn't it cool to wake up every day and have to fight? I love it. 50% of this room most likely is close to this stage. 50% of investors or people who call themselves investors are still in this stage. And that's nothing to be ashamed of, but I just want you to understand it, right? I'm not going to read everything because there's a lot of words on here, but I'll tell you. A lot of people in this stage need to be focused on earning while they learn. There's a lot of people that have already been where you want to go. And there's a lot of ways where you can add value to their lives, and you can also deal deals with them, and you can partner with them. So I just want you to remember that. Don't neglect the fact that you need to cover your bases, okay? And find comfort in this. Survival mode is actually the easiest stage to climb out of, especially when you tap into surges of income, which is really fun, by the way. So we're going to go over that. The next stage is called comfortable. And like I said, this is the most dangerous stage to be in. A lot of people in this room are in this stage. No judgment. Raise your hand if you feel like you're comfortable. Do you know what comfortable means? It's when you really start to enjoy stuff and you have a lot of stuff and you're accumulating stuff, right? And that's because you have more money than you had in survival mode, and it's cool to have money, and you fought hard to get to the point where you didn't have to really stress about paying all your bills, and you have a little bit of money in the bank. But this is where you start to get a little bit of a nicer car. You went from that Toyota Corolla to the Avalon, or you went to the BMW 3 Series. Like, you're starting to get comfortable, you're feeling better about your situation. And this is a tough stage to be in, right? Most people are spending money in this stage rather than investing it. This is where a lot of people also tend to get overweight and unhealthy, because this is the first time where they feel like they have a lot more choices. And if I have a choice to eat whatever I want, I'm going to eat good stuff, right? Can you relate to that? Okay. Comfortable, this is where we stop pushing as hard as we've been pushing when we were in survival mode. And instead, we should be doubling down at this time and not looking at where we are today, but where we want to go. You should be learning more, taking more action at this stage, okay? If this is where you are, you need to wake up. This is a stage called Middle America. It's called the middle class. It's the stage where there's so many people who are essentially in that no man's land. Really, you think about some countries, we're very blessed in the United States. There's a lot of countries where it's rich and poor. That's it. There's no difference. There's nothing in the middle. It's just a void. Here we have this amazing middle class, and it's great and all. But if you truly want to achieve amazing things in life, and even better, have the ability to leave a legacy-driven life where money's no longer the most important thing, you've got to be able to get out of this mode, okay? So if you, in this mode, you really haven't made it yet, although in your circle, in your sphere, in your family, in your community, it may feel that way. But I just want you to know that you can't elevate to thriving until you get off your ass and light that fire back up again. And don't be self-conscious about this. There are probably a lot of you in this room that have said, I need something to ignite me. I used to be so excited about life. I used to be so powerful. I used to wake up having to fight for what I earned. I actually enjoyed it, right? But when you get comfortable and you get complacent, it kind of gets tough, right? So take action. Stop letting the fear of losing what you've been able to get and the comfort that you've achieved guide your decisions. And that's very dangerous, right? Okay, so thriving, this is really a fun one. A lot of people in this room are thriving. Probably fewer people than you think, right? But thriving is when success starts to show a lot more symptoms and signs and evidence, and you start getting really excited about it. But this is also where fear starts to creep in. Does anybody ever get scared? You ever gotten a big check, and you're like, holy shit, what do I do with it? And then you're thinking, you're like, wow, I don't want to lose it, so I don't want to just go do a whole bunch of stuff. And I have to kind of protect this now. And it changes the way that you look at the world, changes the way you look at money, right? And this is also a stage where your mindset tends to get tested a lot more often. If you've never been there, you don't know. If you've been to the thriving position where you're way past comfortable and you're driving much nicer cars and your primary home is much nicer and you have quite a bit of money in the bank, you start to change the way we make decisions based off of protecting what we've accumulated rather than reaching for the next level, right? And there's a paradigm shift that most people have to have when they get here. And you got to start focus on not protecting what you have, but you should be focused on what true investors should be focused on, right? Is anybody in the room an investor? Raise your hand if you're an investor. Does anybody know what investor means? It may mean something different to you. Webster's dictionary, it's kind of a boring definition, in my opinion. A person or organization that puts money into financial plans, property, etc., with the expectation of achieving a profit. It's one way to look at it. I look at it a little different. I say an investor is someone who's focused on leveraging his or her resources to create more resources, right? I don't like the word money. I don't think we invest just money. We invest our time, we invest our money, we invest our wisdom, we invest our network, our assets, right? You have everything in your abilities at your disposal. Are you using that, leveraging that to create more for yourself? Or are you spending it, right? So that's what an investor is. In this stage, like I said earlier, you've got a lot more comforts. A lot of your friends think you've made it. Maybe you're the house that everyone goes to every single holiday because you have that big house and all your friends. Anybody have that? Does anybody have the house that everybody comes to? Yeah. Even your parents, right? I've been doing that for years. But I want to tell you that that's fun and all, but there's something even better, and I want to give you some hope, something you can shoot for. When you get to the point where you're legacy driven, right? A lot of the speakers in the room, Carl Allen just walked in. Carl is legacy driven. He's been well off or wealthy for 20-something years. He doesn't wake up every day because he needs to make money. He wakes up because he wants to help people. Pace Morby, do you wake up every day just needing to survive? No, you're here because you want to make an impact, right? Some people, you ever heard of the ripple effect? When you drop a pebble into a pond and then the ripples continue on forever. Some of these guys are dropping boulders in the ocean. They really are. That's why they're here. So legacy-driven people have already achieved high levels of success. And I want you to know that at this stage, this may not be for you. You may not be born or built for being legacy-driven, but I want you to try to shoot for it anyway. People have a transformation when they hit this stage, the new enlightened state of being, where they realize that it's not about me, and it never has been. The reason why I was put on this earth wasn't to accumulate stuff. It wasn't to drive a Mercedes-Benz. It wasn't to be able to have a nice house that people come to for holidays because we're the rich people in the family. It's not to be comfortable. It's not to make sure that we never have to starve again. That's true. And if anybody who's ever been starving, you understand how real that really is, right? But there's so much more, okay? People who are more focused on impact and letting that drive their decisions. And what's interesting, people who are more impact focused, who have already reached this legacy-driven state, interestingly enough, the more people they help, the more money they make, right? It's a wonderful thing. So how can you elevate quickly from wherever you are right now to really where you feel like you were born to be? You guys want to tap into that? Okay, so that's what I call surges of income. I love surges of income. One day I was listening to Uncle G. You guys know Grant? He has this little book where he just spoke into a microphone for 55 minutes and probably made $1 million doing it, called The Millionaire Booklet. And he starts talking about how to get wealthy. And it was such an interesting thing for me. I'm about 37 now. I was probably about 30 when I listened to it. And he said, you won't believe how many ways there is to make $1 million. He started breaking it down. He said, you can get 280 people a month to pay you like $400 a month, and over a year, that's $1 million. He started breaking it down and making it so much more achievable. And my digital marketing and mathematical brain got excited there, right? But then he said, stop everything you're thinking. Income will never get you rich. Instead, you have to have surges of income that come in at a very quick time period. And that's where you can really elevate your wealth, right? So surges of income is not the game of trying to make more money every year. When you make more money every year, you can see on the graph that your cost of living and your lifestyle will constantly catch up. Inflation will constantly catch up. Is food more expensive today than it was last year? It is, right? I just sold my used truck for like 60 grand. 10 years ago, that thing would have sold for 30, right? Everything in life is more expensive. Everything in life. So if you're just trying to make a little bit more money every year, by the way, everyone else outside this room who doesn't invest in themselves and doesn't actually believe in what being an investor is about, that's what they're doing. If you want to really grow your net worth, which is that gap between your income and where surges of income can take you straight up, and that extra middle amount of money right there is so cool because surges of income is large amounts of money that's above and beyond your paycheck or your monthly recurring revenue that you have. It's a really powerful thing to tap into, okay? Believe it or not, I've actually dedicated my entire professional career to this. It's exactly what it is. I found out what has to be done when that concept got introduced to me. I said, I don't want to keep making more money every year. And I was making $250,000 to $500,000 a year anyway, being a business owner, doing my marketing stuff, but it wasn't enough. I wanted to be legacy driven, which is where I am now. And I want to impact as many people as possible. I needed to speed this stuff up, right? So when you have income coming in that's allocated to your bills and your life, living expenses and your family, you know, it's really tough to save. You ever saved yourself to wealth? Raise your hand if you saved enough money to be wealthy. Carl, he's the only one. Think about that. This money is actually readily available to be invested in, and you can leverage it to create more income, more resources, and your more time, which is your most precious resource, right? So you guys want to dive into this real quick and find out how to tap into this? Right, good with it? So where does it come from? How do you get surges of income? This is quick, right? You can sell or liquidate a property. You can sell a business or have an event like an IPO. You can have business profit distributions. You can learn how to do launches, which is where you're able to sell products and services all at one time to large audiences. And then you can learn how to raise capital. There's really 5 ways where you can tap into surges of income, right? And there's specific industries and skills that tend to lend more towards this and make this more readily available and easy for you to tap into, right? Business acquisitions, of course, selling businesses, creative real estate financing, creative real estate investing, digital marketing, direct response marketing, product launches, raising capital, learning how to put a whole bunch of people in a room, host live events, right? A lot of really good skills. And it's interesting, most of you in this room are already great at most of these things, or at least one of these things, right? Raise your hand if you have a skill in one of these categories. Maybe most of you have multiple, right? I've actually done all of these. There's a reason why. So before I tell you how to tap into surges of income, this will be quick. I'm going to tell you what stops you, first of all. What stops you from getting surges of income? Because I believe that sometimes we're defined by what we don't do, or what we're doing is taking us away from what we really need to be doing, right? So let's go over that. I'm not going to read all this. I'll give you the slides. But having only one stream of revenue is really tough. It's really tough. Allowing your investing to be your job and living off the income your investments produce. Are you an investor, or is that your job? Right? So, and that's nothing negative with being there now, but you want to shoot to get to the point where your investing is not how you make a living, but instead is fueling more investments. It's an interesting concept, right? Aiming too low is another one. Being uneducated around truly what net worth is. How can you do something and achieve something if you don't understand it? I've been in rooms with people 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and they literally couldn't define net worth. And that's okay. It's not a concept that people teach you. Your parents probably didn't teach you. Your school didn't teach you. The education system didn't teach you. But I'll tell you what it is. It's what you own minus what you owe. At the end of the day, what do you own? Okay. Also, letting people who don't have any money or W-2 employees give you guidance and help you determine the way you think. And unfortunately, that's how everyone was raised usually in this country with the education system, and most of our parents. We were indoctrinated to think there is a specific way that's considered the right way. And you're in this room because you believe otherwise. I do have to tell you, follow the wrong people. That's a really easy way to get behind. No offense if these are your friends on my screen here, but you got to be careful who you take advice from, right? One of the biggest things that I love teaching about is when you have a lack of clarity and vision, you literally can't get to your destination. So understanding that. And then I also believe that in diversification is something I learned the hard way by losing all of my money all in one day back in 2014. And I realized at that moment that made me feel a certain way, and I never wanted to rely on that ever again. So I do truly believe relying only on one strategy or one person or one income source, it's going to be tough to ever really reach that stage of legacy driven or thriving, okay? Just focusing on cash flow is another one. So let's go into how can you start working towards this today, okay? Number one, I would encourage you to do these things. You can write these down, you can take pictures, but do bigger deals. Right out of the gate. Do bigger deals. Easy concept. Educate yourself, which you already are doing that. You all are already committed to learning from people who have already done the things that you're setting out trying to do. Good for you. Diversify your approach to investing. I think this is key. Has everybody heard of the market basket approach? Have you ever had someone tell you, don't put all your eggs in one basket? That's a dangerous thing to consider because also it's really hard to achieve mastery and momentum and skill unless you're able to be focused. So I'm not talking to somebody who has not achieved a certain level of comfort so far. If you're in survival mode, I'm not telling you to diversify everything in your life because you need to double down, you need to be focused because it's going to be tough to climb out if you can't cover your bases and start putting some wins on the board. But when you get to the next level, diversifying is really, really big. Use your resources to create more resources. Remember, resources are time, money, wisdom, your assets, your knowledge, your connections, your abilities. Learn to say, what do I have that I can put into play that's going to give me more back, right? Beyond that, I would focus on investing to grow your net worth, not just investing because it's fun. Understand that if you go and invest and you go through these big transactions and you don't really have anything to show for it except, hey, now I've got money to live on for the next 4 months, it's going to be tough to ever get out of that. That's just a cycle. So focus on taking the surges of income when you get it. Has anybody ever sold a property and gotten a check, a decent check? My first one scared the crap out of me. I got $186,000, and it was from selling my primary home. Went and flipped it, and I sat there with my wife, and she's bug-eyed. She's like, oh, shit, that's a lot of money. And I had to stop there for a minute, and I said, we can do a couple things. We can go to Tunica or Vegas, and we can piss away some money and enjoy ourselves, and we could probably fly first class for the first time ever. It's a long time ago. And I realized at that moment that I could spend that money and feel really good about it. Or I can invest that money. Ended up taking that money, and I grew it to about $900,000. And if that's not validation for making the right decision, and this is a big part of my journey, was that first surge of income. And I realized, wow, the amount of money I just made in 3 years off this $186,000 literally outpaced my income by about 2.5% at the time. I said, you can literally make money without going to work. It's a big realization. I'm sure most of you have already had that, right? A couple more things. You want to invest not just to invest, not to just make a living, but because you want to grow your net worth. Here's one of the biggest lessons I learned, is you want to hang out with the people you want to be in 10 years. Think about who you spend the most time with right now. Look around at your friends, your family, your community, and you say, am I already at the top? How are these people going to push me? They say you are the average of the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So go out there and hang out with people you want to be in 10 years. I've done this several times, and I continue to climb every time. I also say get into bigger playgrounds, okay? Read books written by wealthy people and wealthy investors because they're sitting there giving their legacy to you in paper and showing you the path. It's crazy. I've read 100 books just in 2017 on money, finances, and success, and I tripled my net worth in those 365 days. And I realized that these people knew something that I didn't, and I started to implement. It's pretty interesting. So just want to keep speeding this up. So learn from people who've done what you want to do. Hold yourself to a higher standard, okay? Stop and reflect frequently. Does anybody ever just go, and they do, and we're busy, so we automatically think we're productive? Most of the time, that's a very dangerous cycle. Stop and reflect frequently. Define success before you take action, okay? One of my favorite books that was really eye-opening for me is called Just Keep Buying. It talks about the power of dollar cost averaging and talks about the people who are out there who are truly investing and how they got truly wealthy is because they're always investing. And they're letting time and compounding interest and appreciation just continue to grow their nest egg. And then after a certain point, you won't believe that you have enough money to play with where you don't have to go and exchange your time for money anymore. And then you can just continue to make it grow, right? So lastly, learn unbelievable, high-paying, in-demand skills that don't require a college degree. There's so many people out there that need what you have to offer, and yet we just sit there and decide we want to go and try to tackle the world on our own. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are literally dying to have someone like you in their life. I didn't say to work for you, like work for them. You can be their partner. There's so many ways. That's how I've made all my money, is by taking what I'm great at, plugging it into a visionary, and blowing it up, right? Okay. So if you learn anything from this event, I want you to walk away with one thing. You are worth it, number one. You have what it takes. You can do this. You have to believe in yourself. You've chosen the right people to learn from. People here, who here follows the guy Pace Morby? You've chosen the right leaders, right? We have a lot of Dealmaker Wealth Society people in the room as well. You've chosen the right leaders, and you've invested in yourself just from being here. So before I finish, I just want to teach you how I want you to act at this event, okay? I'm not going to be too strict, don't worry, okay? But I want you to talk to people, talk to your neighbor. You may be sitting next to your next business partner. We've had many of these events. Carl and I've done 6 events this year, and story after story of the person that they just did a deal with is the person they were randomly sitting next to at the event. So talk to them, learn from them, exchange information, be committed to following up, get that Blink app, get everyone's information, take notes, take pictures. I do ask you this as well. Pay attention to the speakers. Put your laptops away. I will ask you to do it. Put your laptops away. No distractions, because you invested yourself to be here, and then you're going to work on stuff that's not going to really take your life to the next level. The last event we did in Atlanta, I actually had them remove the tables. Anybody at the Atlanta event? No tables, because you're literally sabotaging. Why are you even here? Put it away. And maybe I'm an asshole, but that's how I feel. So these people here, the speakers, are here to pour into you. And if you can't stop for a minute and pay attention, you need to look at your life, okay? Another thing, no offense, be in the room. People in the hallways aren't going to teach you shit. They're not. There's a reason why they're out there. I mean, no offense, the sponsors are amazing. Don't get me wrong. That's not who I'm talking about. But just in general, there's plenty of time to network. Plenty of time to network. We have 5 networking breaks a day. If you're gold or VIP, we're going out, we're networking, we're feeding you, we're dining you. It's going to be amazing, okay? Focus on that. And in closing, just if you look around right now, your next business partner, your next integrator, your next breakthrough, your private money lender you've been looking for, that Gator lender you've been looking for, the person that knows what you don't know is in this room. And like I told you before, don't be afraid to fight for why you came here. That's why we're going to do Stand Up and Connect twice. That's why we built in the networking sessions several times. While you're in this room, people are speaking, focus on this. During the networking, network like crazy. That's all I ask for you, okay? So that's it. Last thing, can you please add some value? Does anybody want to add value? It's amazing, right? A lot of people that you know who are extremely well off, wealthy, legacy driven, literally made their entire fortunes and their empires from helping other people get what they want. You may have exactly what somebody needs in this room. Don't be afraid to say, here's who I am, here's how I can help you, okay? And that's all I've got for you this morning.
Chris Moore, everybody. Chris Moore. He's our fearless leader here at Dealmaker Wealth Society. Give him one more round of applause. He works very, very hard to put these events together. He's also very good looking. And he's also very married. Sorry, ladies.
Morning. Yeah, so 23-hour flight to get here yesterday. I might as well have come to the moon. Maybe we'll have the next one of these on the moon. But it's so great to see everybody here from no matter where you've traveled, a lot of friendly faces. I've got business partners in this room. I've got investors in this room.